Welcome back to Superhuman Customs. I'm your host, Stephen Human. Today we got pretty killer kick bash. So what I've done is I've taken pieces of 5 different characters, pieces that I never thought that I would use because I had the idea to do an Eclipso figure. Ever since 1992 when they did the Darkness Within Saga for the DC universe, I've had a special place in my heart for Eclipso, and I saw a picture that had it was from the New 52, and he had a cloak on his head, and he had like this coming down over here, and so this is gonna be kind of a mixture of different versions of Eclipso. But I've taken all these pieces from Shazam, an infected Shazam, Captain Cold. The arms here, the lower arms are from Ultraman, the legs are from Static. So this is a little bit crazy, but I'm really excited to make this version of Eclipso and add it to my shelves. So let's get going. First things first is that I want to glue this down a little bit so that, because it kind of comes up like this, and I don't want that. I want it to come down more. But in order to do that, I'm going to paint his symbol first. Now, Eclipso has a couple different symbols. The New 52, which is the one kind of that I'm basing the idea of this off of, because it's got the fabric right here, and it's got more of a hood than a hat. He's got a little bit different symbol, but he's shown throughout as having a couple different symbols. So I'm going to go with the classic, especially since this Captain Coldbody has the orb here on the chest, just like Eclipso has. So that's what we're going to go with. And I'm just taking some metallic purple, and I'm going to just add here so that it's got the symbol, the moon symbol. And then I'll paint the rest of this yellow once this is dry, glue this down, and then we'll start everything else. What we're going to use is this hood from the character that I used for the Joe Moline Green Lantern. We're going to cut this off so he's got the hood here. I'm really excited about this because this guy is literally made up of pieces that I never thought I would use. And for those of you who've been watching the channel for a long time, you know that I love when I'm able to do something with a piece that I thought was impossible. Because look at this guy. His head is attached to his neck, and so he's not going to work for most figures, but this Captain Cold was the exact same way. So it was oh, this is all going to work. So it's one of the reasons why I'm excited. I love being able to take things that would just languish in a box forever and do something cool with them, and that's what we're going to do here. Now, notice that I picked these giant hands. It might look weird for a character other than Eclipso to have big hands like this, but for him it's going to look fine because he is a god of, I don't even know, vengeance or something like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of kryptonite and I'm going to cut it so that it actually looks like the dark heart crystal that he holds. And we're going to glue it in place so he's actually holding it with this hand. That is going to look cool, so I'm super excited about doing that. Now, before we glue that in place, his little shawl, whatever, I'm going to paint this, what's gold here, I'm going to paint it gunmetal gray. Because we're going to go with a dark, I think I'm going to do black with some purple highlights, because that's how it's shown. It's either straight black or it's got a dark purpleness to it. So we're going to go through and we're going to paint this gunmetal, glue this down, and then we'll start worrying about the rest. Before we start experimenting with the hood, I want to get the face painted first. Because kind of like with this, putting this in place, I wanted to have the stuff that's going to go underneath it. The reason I didn't paint all of it and then glue it is because if you do plastic to plastic, it's going to stay pretty much permanently. There's very little that you can do to get it off at that point, which is what I want. If you have paint in there on both levels, that paint can chip and pull and it can come off. So I don't want that. So I want to get all this stuff taken care of on the face, because generally his face is gray on the one side and then blue where the eclipse is actually taking place. And so I want to get that done so that he can look right while I have control in here. And then we'll experiment with the cloak and what we can get it to look like. While we got the gray out, we might as well start doing the arms and getting it so that this looks more like the flesh tone, because he's gray. So his skin should be gray. I'm going to start with a powder blue up here for the eclipsed makeup, whatever, his Eclipse sign on his face. Generally, it's a lighter blue that kind of has a darker tint to it. So I'm thinking of what I'm doing is I'm going to try this first, and then I'm going to go through with a wash and add in, you know, whatever darkness I think it has. You know, it might look really great just as is with this powder blue, but we'll figure it out. You know, we'll get in there and we'll see, and we'll see how we want to do it. All right, let's experiment with some wash. I don't want to go too crazy, so I've only got a little bit on here, but then I don't know if it's enough. See, it's like not. That's the problem with wash sometimes, is that you can get so much on there that it makes it so that it's too much, and then you can get so little that it doesn't do anything. So, yeah, see, because it's like I don't want that much on there. That's too much. Let's see, I'm going to water it down. Let's water it down. Let's get some water on here. Let's move it. Let's see what we got. That's a little bit better. And then I can wipe it. I think that's what we'll do. And then I'll do a nice wipe on. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. Watering it down. That was the way to go. So let's move it. Oops, taking off a little bit of blue paint. That's not what I wanted. Obviously, I'm moving too fast, which is sometimes a problem for me. But anyway, that's looking really good. I like that. And now I'm just going to get some red on the eyes. Somebody's ringing the doorbell. I should probably go get that. But first, let's get some red on the eyes. Just using a toothpick. No, somebody got the door. All right. Let's get it in here. See what we got. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Nice and round. That looks great. Let's get the next one. I'm getting very excited about how this guy is looking. I got to get this carved now. So I'm gonna try and leave myself plenty of room to move around. So I'm just gonna cut it here near the bottom, and then we'll experiment with how best to fit it on there. So that's what we got here. And obviously this is gonna be too much, but it gives us a feel of where I need to cut and how much I need to cut off. So I'm just gonna keep kind of cutting it, getting it in place, and then we'll go from there. All right, I think we got it. So two big things about this particular custom. One is I got an extra light. So I've needed that for a long time. And so the light over here is not great in my office, and so that's number one. Number two is that for those of you who've been watching this channel for a long time and paying attention, I have never had purple paint. I've had a metallic purple that I've used, and it's a craft paint, and it's okay, but I've never had a Vallejo purple paint. It's not something I ever thought about having, so I always had to mix up my own purple. And this is actually purple paint right here. So I have purple Vallejo paint. So two big deals, that, you know, a better light and purple paint. And I'm really excited about both of them and how this figure is going to turn out. So like I said before, he's a fun character for me personally since I was a kid. After the 1992, what was it called? The Heart of Darkness or whatever it was called. Darkness Within. Anyway, it was a great series through the annuals of DC Comics, and if you're interested in reading it, check it out. One thing I've decided to do, he's mainly black with some purpley like highlights and sometimes, but since I've got some textures here, what I want to do is I'm actually going to paint some of these purple, like just here on the side, this one and this one. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm going to have these lines be black. So where it's yellow, it's going to be black. And I think that this will it'll give him a little bit different look, which is something that I kind of want here. Eclipso's had so many different looks. Some of them are very barbarian-esque. Some are very classic 1960s supervillain-esque. This is going to be obviously a mix, but I think it's going to use this buck, this kit bash that I'm using, to its utmost to just make him look cool. So that's how we're going to do it. Now that we have all the purple in place, one of the last major things we have to do is to paint him black. And this will go pretty quick. We'll start up here with a big brush, getting all of this taken care of, and we will then move down to the details in the legs. Now I could take his arms off and paint him that way, Most of the time, as you all know, I tend to keep figures together when possible. Part of the reason is because since these are all different arms and they're not quite as, I mean, it's a little bit loose, I can get in all of these places while he's together. It's not that big of a deal. And so that's how I choose, because then I don't have to pull the arm off, potentially pull these off again, even though they're on there. I would just prefer to not loosen things up once they're together. So that's why I choose to do it this way. Other guys take the figure completely apart, the legs, all of that stuff. You know, there's different ways you can do it, and whichever way you prefer, it all works. Like, because I can get in all these places and not that big of a deal, but do it the way that you want to do it, and yeah, you'll be just fine. So I've got a lot of the main coverage of the black done, but I want to go through and get these lines here, because this is important. This is going to make things just really look pretty cool, I think. You know, there's these little details and stuff on a figure that really make things kind of stand out. And even though this isn't exactly how Eclipso has ever fully looked, it's close enough to any number of his different interpretations that it works. And so you can go through and do this sort of stuff. So for like example here on his wrist, you can see that the Ultraman arms have this like cuff. Well, so I'm going to make that a purple metallic bracelet. And it'll make a lot of these things sort of just really pop, these little details. Like making these purple right here instead of black. It's not exactly any particular version of Eclipso, but man, it's going to look cool when it's done. Now we're going to go through, we're going to make his belt gold. And we're going to go through, I painted these ones black because it matches his sort of pants and suit. So we're not going to make it all gold. We're just going to do these sections gold and then these little vials, whatever they are. It doesn't make any sense to have vials on Eclipso, but it's not worth taking them off. You can say that they're gems or something. I don't know. You can always explain it away. Yes, it doesn't make any sense for him to have vials on his belt, but we're going to keep them. We're just going to make them look cool. So I'm just going through now and I'm hitting up a few details here. Pick them up a little bit. I'm just going through, he's got like a little clasp right here. I'm just going to do some silver. As you can see, I was experimenting with some brown to make this whatever he's got here. He doesn't really have like a satchel or anything, but this piece of leather so that it's just got a little bit more detail to it. And I'm going to go through and hit some of these so that it's got a little bit heightened with a little bit of silver. And then we're going to add some metallic purple here to a couple things, and then I think we're going to be done at that point. I'm really happy how this guy's looking. Now I'm going to take the same purple, and when I painted him black, like it kind of became obvious that there was more of some kind of design here that looked metallic. And I don't want it to be silver or gunmetal gray, because I think that having a light coat of this metallic purple is really going to make it stand out and make it look really cool. So that's what we're going to do. Going to go around and just get it with this metallic. I've got the kryptonite here, and what I need to do is I've kind of measured more or less how long it needs to be, so I'm going to cut it a little bit longer than it needs to be, just to make sure I've got the right size. And this will be the base for our gemstone that he'll be holding. So there we go. It's about the right size. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to drill a small hole in the bottom so that it can fit on his thumb, and that's how we'll glue it in place. So we're going to get that drilled, and I think this is going to be the final touch. I might do a little bit of wash in some of the cape areas, but we'll see. So I am just putting a little bit of wash in here just to make things stand out a little bit. And you can see it's glued in place. We'll paint it metallic purple, and this Eclipso will be finished. Last but not least, I'm going to do a little bit of white dry brush on him. Just hit some of these edges of things, heighten things up a little bit, and we will be done with Eclipso. And there you have Eclipso. This is great because I really haven't had a lot of ideas lately. I know for you guys I've been posting a video a week, but in honesty, I haven't touched a figure in almost 2 months. So I have a few handful of figures. I haven't had any ideas. And so I was really excited when I got the idea for this guy. And being able to use parts that I never thought I would use, this is really great. And this is why I love doing this, because it gives you a chance to be so creative and to go through and just use things that, you know, are just going to sit in a box for forever, and you're able to use them in some really great ways. So I'm very excited about this guy. He's going to look great on the shelf. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I enjoy this. I hope you guys do as well, and that you're all out there customizing and taking risks and making some really cool little pieces of art. I'm Stephen Human. Check out StephenHumanAuthor.com for all of my sci-fi thriller novels, because I am a novelist, and I'll see you all soon.